That's crazy.
How you feel ahead of this derby? Because it's the two best teams right now in Serie A. Perfect. You guys haven't conceded a goal, though. You're the only team, I think, in the top 5 leagues that hasn't conceded a goal, I believe, so far into match day 3.
And the Inter players are playing good for that Zuri, too, so that's another +1.
Not Di Marco.
I think the international break kind of takes a little bit out of this game, because you're going to have a lot of players coming, especially there's so many international players for Inter, both Inter and Milan, that traveling, the 2 games in a week, it's a lot for the beginning of the season. I don't know if we'll have the same form. Both Inter and Milan were on unbelievable form before the international break. I think it's going to be a very, very close match. I think both Milan and Inter, we've seen them like really dominate games in possession, and then at the same time they haven't played this counter-attacking style, but they have the players to be able to break on the counter. Both Milan and Inter. Because I feel that Inter, right, if you look at whether it be Barella, but even Thuram now, adds an extra part of our game that we didn't have in the past, which is the ability to run in behind the defense. So, and Milan we know already, with Leao, with now adding a Pulisic and being able to be lethal, just as lethal on the other side. Now you can't double Leao. You can't give the space or favor one side.
Exactly.
It's gonna be a
equal
battle.
Attack, yeah.
You guys are much more adept to the counterattack. Inter.
Well, because of how we have to play with Inzaghi sometimes, but I think Milan is better suited for a counterattack. I think so. With the Theo Hernandez, Leao, a Pulisic.
I think that's going to be where they get hurt. I think Milan is probably the team that's impressed me the most in terms of, I thought that they were going to be good. I didn't think they'd have this much chemistry and be this good going forward. And they've been the funnest team for me to watch in Serie A. The team that I've most enjoyed. Loftus-Cheek bombing forward. Reinders in the midfield. I think one of the best signings. Pulisic goes without saying. They have options that will contribute to goals. My fear is, this is just the theory that I've had, is that the defense is not as good as we think. Just because they haven't played a top team yet. They've played strong teams, but they haven't played with amazing strikers. And I see them going forward a lot, which I love. It's fun to watch. My fear for them is that they're going to get caught up the field a lot. And Inter are experts at counter-attacking football, where you guys are okay with absorbing and breaking quick. And I think without Tomori, who they don't have in their center back, I'm reading also Kalulu might not be fit to play. I think defensively they were already question mark for me. And now the fact that they keep pushing guys forward, which I think that's what they're going to do, you guys are going to be very content with sitting back and boom, hitting on the counter.
Another thing to fight on that real quick, I agree with that a lot. Tomori's a huge loss. Another thing is Inter haven't conceded a goal. I believe Milan conceded 2 goals in those 3 games, but Milan's opposition was tougher than Inter's. So that's another thing to add in. So it's more...
Milan's was tougher than Inter.
Yeah, Milan's opponents were tougher than Inter's.
And they only conceded.
So now Milan's attack, which looks incredible, I think is going to give Inter's defense a run for their money for sure.
They also, Milan, they looked in difficulty when they had a man less. When Roma were a man up, then okay, it looked tough. And I know Roma was out without Pellegrini and Dybala, and Lukaku then came in. But that was the only time that Milan have looked poor. But you're right that the opposition that they played have been different.
That's to be said.
I think, like you said, to cut off Gaetano, but Inter, we've seen in the past how they can defend, but I still see the way Inzaghi plays, he's going to play the ball also. So that's why I feel if Inter, at times when we push too high, Milan, I think, are better suited to counter. That was my point. Okay. That was my point.
If we put the teams that more or less we left before the international break, Inter is favorite. Inter is playing really good.
Yeah, Inter's favorite.
But on a derby, doesn't mean anything. On a derby, AC Milan can beat you.
Of course.
So you need to be ready. I see maybe a tie on this game. I don't know if Milan, if Giroud is there, and they got Leao, and they got Pulisic, the midfielder is good. The guy in the back is good.
Ciao.
Yeah, is good. I like him.
I know, but no Tomori.
Who could play next to him?
Kier.
Oh, you got Kier. Yeah, Kier is
old,
good,
bro.
No, come on.
He's good.
Kier
He's
is
good,
good,
but he doesn't have a lot of minutes. I feel
it doesn't matter. So He doesn't have an answer, but he's got the experience. The guy's a national
experience.
team
The
player. He playing in the
Lautaro
World Cup. He
turned
playing in
The
the
national
European
team
Cup.
players,
Lautaro.
the national team player is the most coined.
Lautaro's also
word.
hot.
He's hot right now.
Lautaro is hot, and he loves a goal against Milan. He always scores against Milan.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
So
He's a killer.
with Lautaro in the form that he's in, like you said, a
like you
derby,
said,
anything could happen.
Anything can happen. I see Inter favorite.
I see the same thing.
Yeah.
in this
I see
game.
the
But
same
like
thing.
you said, it doesn't matter.
And you know what the thing is? The last 4 derbies, I think you guys have won. Inzaghi found the
4?
No.
I think it's 4.
Champions League.
Was it Coppa Italia? Check, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's 4 that you guys won in a row. And Inzaghi's found the formula against Milan because early on, and this is also just what we said about Inzaghi. Sometimes mentally they've crumbled. He's made, I mean, the game that's most evident to me, I was at 4.
Super Cup, Serie A, Champions League, twice.
The game that I was at, that I watched it, where Inter's in total control for 45 minutes, 1-0 up, and then they lose. Giroud turns 2 times, 2-1, they win, which I think was might have been the first derby over there.
The first
That was, and also then there was the 3-2 where Leao turned Skriniar inside out last year around the same time. So there was moments where they lost the match for me because of decisions that Inzaghi made. That's the way that I saw it in those games. So that's my fear.
No, I know. I listen, I think that Inzaghi especially, there's been an evolution in his time with Inter. I think the Inzaghi in the first year was still concentrated in what he used to do with Lazio and how he was trying to organize his game plan and the substitutions and everything else. And that was also evident within the first half of the season last year. But then as the year went on, obviously the team was gelling. He had his players back, and also you saw his tendencies to make these subs because of a yellow card, because of this, or because of that, kind of fade away. So I think if he's able to now understand after the 2 seasons that he had with Inter to say, hey, I'm going to make these subs or make these decisions based on intuition or me reading the game more than what the probability of getting the second yellow card, that's what's going to be the deciding factor. And I think whether you look at the Supercoppa, you look at the Coppa Italia, you look in the Champions League run, I think he outcoached even Guardiola, from what I understand and how I see the game. I think he matched, at the very least, if you don't want to say, because in the end he lost, but he matched a top. Okay, he matched Guardiola, and he made that Inter team in the right position to win the match.
I agree with everything you said. That's just my little pushback on my fear, because like you're saying, Inter's favorite, but when it comes down to those moments, I'm just saying I have the little scars where I was sure Inter would do it.
Listen, for me, to say Inter's favorite, I think Milan's on the same type of run. Okay, we let in 2 goals less or whatever the case might be, but Milan's at the same level as what Inter's doing. They're running through teams the first 3 games. Very hard to see. And, yes, Inter have Lautaro, but Milan has Leao. Leao is a top player. He's the best player in Serie A right now, with the Osimhen. Lautaro is right underneath them too.
If Tomori, maybe I'm putting too much value in Tomori being out for the second yellow card that he got against Roma, which Belotti is going nowhere. It was just not a smart second yellow card to miss the derby. So maybe I'm putting too much.
And I feel Milan have a vengeance versus Inter. And we kicked them out of the semifinal, so they're gonna come out.
That it?
Predictions?
Prediction.
Inter 2-1. Fratesi scores winner.
1-1.
Take it.
Mike?
Me, Mike.
Don't think too hard. You're gonna hurt yourself.
1-1.
I'll take what Marco says.
And a producer?
2-0 Milan. From Enrico Bocca di Foco, the Milan fan.
I was about to say.